right, everybody, what is going on? We've got some EZA defense calcs here for TEQ LR Broly, the old TEQ LR Broly, not the new one. This is the one from the second Broly movie. This guy came out as the part 2 whenever the Go Bros came out for Saiyan Day several years ago at this point. What was this, 2019, I believe, is whenever this guy came out, so... been a long time since this guy's released, and we finally have his EZA, and it looks like it was designed last year. So I do have calcs right here on Twitter. If you guys want to see those, they are already up here, so you guys don't have to wait for me to explain them. They're already up here. Go follow me there, and you can already check these out. In the meantime, let's go ahead and go over this guy's translations before we actually hop into the breakdown. So here we go, EZA LR TEQ Broly. Oof, just get whited out there, okay? You guys got the flashbang, okay? So LR Super Saiyan Broly leader skill doesn't really matter. We don't care about leader skill at this point. 12 key. He'll probably be decent in Battlefield at the very least, even though he's not going to be super great. I think across a lot of content. I think his leader skill should be good enough for Battlefield, so you can at least use him there. His 12 key super attack raises attack for 1 turn and colossal damage to the enemy, greatly lowers defense, so that really sucks that he's not getting defense on that. 18 key super attack, the eraser cannon greatly raises attack, so he's stacking attack, greatly raises defense for 1 turn, that's a 50% raise, causes mega colossal damage to the enemy, and massively lowers enemy defense. So at least he's getting defense on his 18 key. That's, you know, that's something. At least, you know, that's something at the very least. So we'll take it. The passive, Devilish Chase. Sorry, I by the way, just woke up. That's what I do calcs now, is fresh off the cuff in the morning. Key 3, 200% to stats. Gain an additional 120% to stats when performing a super attack, plus an additional 120% if it is an ultra super attack. So that means that it'll be a total of 240% attack and defense on 18 key, which is pretty good. He gains an additional attack plus 50% when attacking an enemy whose attack is in the attack down or defense down status. Sure, man, we'll take it, I guess, whatever. Gain an additional key 3 plus an additional attack is a high chance of becoming a super attack when facing only 1 enemy. And then gain key plus 5 launches an additional super attack when facing 2 or more enemies, conditions, or transform when conditions are met. I believe his conditions are just turn 4, if I'm remembering correctly. I'll double check here in just a second, but yeah, so not terrible, but also not great. I mean, if you guys notice, there's no dodge here, there's no damage reduction here, there's no guard here in this first part. So we just kind of have raw defense and we don't have very much of it. One thing I do want to remind you guys is that the way this guy's additionals work is they are not start of turn. They will activate mid-turn. So, like right here, gain an additional attack that's a high chance of becoming a super attack when facing 1 enemy, and then launches an additional super attack when facing 2 or more enemies. If you're facing 2 enemies, because we figured this back whenever this guy came out during the old Super Battle Road days, if you KO an enemy, like let's say there's 2 enemies on the field, and Broly KOs one of them, and you drop from 2 enemies down to 1 enemy, then Broly will actually get the additional super for facing 1 enemy mid-turn. So that is kind of a rare occurrence. So how many additionals can this guy do? So he can do his first attack. 1 enemy right here. So launches additional attack is a great chance. So he can do 1, 2, 3. He can do a possible 4 in his base form right here. So not terrible. Most of the time you'll probably see 3, 2 or 3, just depending on if you're facing 2 or 1 enemies. So that's what we got going on there. So anyway, looking at his calcs, this is his defense stat. This is his defense stat at 55%. All right, sorry, I went and took some nose spray. I feel like really stopped up, and it's sorry. Anyway, so this defense, 55% defense. So on a 200% leader skill, right? We know this at this point. You take this number, multiply it by 5, and then right here we're gonna multiply by 1.05 for the links, and then for our leader skill we get 200%. Or I'm sorry, not leader skill. For our passive skill, we get 200% at the start of turn. We get 240% when performing an 18 key. I don't think this guy will struggle with key as long as he is next to another Broly, which he should be. So he's got a lot of key in his passive. But yeah, I think that's what we got going on. And then he caps out right here in his base form because all he gets after that is 50% on defense. So you would just take this, multiply it by 1.5, and then this right here, this line is where he is capping out. So if you've only got one copy of this Broly, he's going to suck. Just like straight up, he is going to be bad. I mean, he's not even going to be great at Rainbow, but, you know, 825k defense raw, not exactly confidence inspiring, but you guys can let me know if you disagree. So if you're thinking like, oh man, should I pick this guy up with coins for Broly's team? No. No, you shouldn't. You should not do that. This is very clearly not very good. He's going to be doing a lot of damage, I think. Just based off his passive, I think his attack stats are going to be crazy. So maybe there's a chance you just KO the boss before they KO you. But yeah, I mean, 209k defense at the start of turn. If this guy's going up against an AoE, he's going to absolutely get busted. Like, Fusion Zamasu would absolutely bust this guy in half. And that boss is a year old. So if they, like, release a movie bosses mission for Fusion Zamasu during this mission, which, you know, they do like to do that. Last year's Worldwide, we got missions for Metal Cooler. If they release missions for Fusion Zamasu for, like, movie bosses, just know that this EZA Broly is going to get shredded in half by Fusion Zamasu. So, that's not great. I'm not asking for him to have a ton of starter turn defense, but more than 209 would definitely be pretty crazy. Anyway, so back over to Broly. So then he transforms. We're assuming that his transformation condition is unchanged, which is, if I go back here, transform starting from turn 4. I doubt they're going to change this. So anyway, that's probably what it is. And then we get out the legendary Super Saiyan Broly. So now he does get attack and defense on his 18 key, or on his 12 key, which is good. So now he's getting 30% here. He's still greatly lowering defense. And then he greatly raises attack and defense for 1 turn, mega colossal damage to the enemy, and lowers enemy defense massively. So this is good, right? Like, now he's getting defense on both super attacks. I mean, that's definitely nice. So key plus 4, 220% at the start of turn, gains an additional attack plus 120%, and perform an additional attack as a high chance of becoming a super attack when performing a super attack. So that's good. So now we still have this multiplicative 120%. That's the same. This is up from 200 to 220, and we get an additional now, which is nice. And then he gets an additional attack plus 166%, and guard activated against all attacks, and extreme class allies chance to perform a critical hit plus 6% for 2 turns if it is an ultra super attack. So notice we lost the extra 120% up from up here when performing an ultra super attack. Now it is just attack, and in exchange we get guard. I don't know that that's a fair trade-off. I mean, maybe it is. I don't know why he couldn't have just gotten both. Like 166% defense here and guard. I don't know why he couldn't have gotten that. Trust me, his numbers are not that crazy that it would have been outlandish, but whatever. Gain an additional attack plus 100% when attacking an enemy who's in the attack down or defense down status. Gain key plus 4 and launch an additional attack as a high chance of becoming a super attack when facing 1 enemy. Gain an additional key plus 6, launches an additional super attack when facing 2 or more enemies. So again, this can activate mid-turn, so you can do your first super attack, then you can do a second one right here from the high chance, and then you could do a third from facing 1 enemy, then you could do a fourth from facing 2 enemies if you KO, or I guess actually it would be a third from facing 2 enemies, and then a fourth if you KO one of those enemies, then you'll be facing 1 and you'll get that super attack, and then you could do a hidden potential. So the most super attacks the Transform Broly here could do is 5. That's where he would cap out. So again, I think damage on this guy is going to be absolutely crazy, but I don't know. I don't know how his defense... Actually, I do know how his defense is going to be, so let's go ahead and take a look. So here we go. Here's EZA LR TEQ Broly. So again, defense is the same, leader skills the same, links are the same. So now prepared for battle, you can see that we're at a slightly higher start of turn stat right here. So we were at 200%, now we're at 220, and you can see that our stats go up just a little bit right here across the board. And then on this side, by the way, this side is 40% support factored in. I don't know if I ever said that, but you guys can read, you're not dumb. If you're watching this and you're an audio-only listener, I'm sorry that I'm not doing a good job, but I don't think my voice is very appealing today. So anyway. Now he gets 120% on 18 key instead of 240, so you can see like this is massively lower than what it was before. And then he does get 50% on his 18 key. So now after one 18 key super attack, he's only at 735k defense. Obviously not very good. And then if you get an additional 12 key super attack, he's going to be at 883k. And then right here, like, let's say you get a triple, which I think a triple super attack is going to be the most common, then he's going to be just barely cracking 1,000,000 defense. I know you guys can't see it over here, but he is just barely cracking 1,000,000 defense. I can, here, I'll put it, like, right here. Right there, so 1,000,000. So the way I decided to kind of just show you guys this is that this is how much defense he's getting per additional. So he can do, I did do a max, so technically possible because it's not going to be common. It's going to be very rare that you see this, but you'll see Twitter clips of it. So before people go like, oh, how did you do 5 supers? It's, again, I already explained it to you guys, but this is where his defense would cap out if you did do 5 super attacks, which is 1.4 million defense with guard. Is the max. So most of the time, you're probably only going to see him maybe with like 1,000,000 with guard. 1,000,000 defense with guard is not, like, that's not good, right? Like, it's not. Maybe in slot 2 it'll be okay, which is where this guy's going to be. And he's going to be doing a lot of damage. But, I don't know. I just, like, that's not impressive, right? Maybe his damage I think is going to be crazy, but just, you know, don't let him get hit, I guess. I mean, maybe I'm underselling it. 1,000,000 defense with guard against most normals in the game should be good enough. So as a slot 2 character, this guy should be fine most of the time. But I would just be weary. So, you know, how do you build this guy if that's, like, what you're curious about? Like, what do you want to throw on him in terms of, like, his build? Notice how he doesn't really have crit in his kit, like, anywhere. So I would definitely just recommend going crit with him, or full dodge. I would say dodge or crit is what you want to go for. Personally, I think mine is built like 24 crit, maybe like 10 or 11, 12 additional, something like that, and then maybe like 8 dodge is what I have on mine. I doubt I'll be changing that up very much. I think I'll just stick with him just being an attack monster. So let me know how you guys are going to build your tech Broly's, and let me know if you guys think this guy's EZA is good enough. Again, I don't want to say that he's bad, but he's definitely not good. But, you know, under the umbrella of Broly, I mean, we've seen that Int Broly can be okay, right? Like, he's not really the star of the show. He's not breaking records or anything, but Int Broly can kind of safely sit under the Tech Broly umbrella. Not this Tech Broly. This Broly's umbrella is busted. But, the new LR Carnival LR Broly, right? Like, just like Int Broly, this EZA LR Broly should be able to sit under that umbrella nicely, and just kind of be a link battery for that guy, and kind of carry the damage a little bit. So I think this guy's damage is going to be crazy. So we'll see. But yeah, it's crazy that he's actually less defensive most of the time than in his base form. Like a triple super attack is getting you to less defense than what this would be. Like that's you know, plus this minus that right there. So yeah, he's actually 35k defense lower in his transform state after a triple super attack than after one attack in base. But he is guarding, so, you know, you trade off 35k defense for guard if you get the triple super attack. So I don't know. You guys let me know. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. You know, it's content. We asked for content. Here we go. Yeah.